Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Mabry here, ready with Marsh Comes In Like a Lion, episode 2. So yeah, last episode we were first introduced to this series. I have some theories as to the background story in regards to our main character Ray and whatnot, especially how he maybe has some family problems which are being expanded into just interpersonal relationship problems overall. We can see he's an introvert. He probably has a lot of um and I wouldn't go as far as to say antisocial behaviors, but he's got some problems, right? And I'm assuming that this series is going to be sort of exploring these different concepts. Apparently a lot of you guys also really recommend this as well, although at the expense of perhaps the first few episodes being a bit more on the slow side. So hopefully it will continue to catch my attention. I will fully admit that the first episode was kind of meh for me, right? There's nothing that immediately draws me into wanting to watch it further, but there's nothing bad towards it either, right? It does have a unique animation style, a unique artistic style and whatnot, and so, well, let's just see what continues to happen. All right, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. And I'm guessing that this guy is probably his next opponent in Shogi matches. Hey. Okay. He calls him San, but he calls him Kun. Alright. Alright, a one-sided rival, I guess. He didn't even take the... Seriously, dude? Dude, either step in or step out. Nope, he's it. Oh, he's a rich dude. Alright. Oh, you even invited him in? Alright. Oh, come on. It's nice to have at least someone who's willing to do stupid things with you. Alright, since this is the opening, I will be skipping it. Although, actually, do let me know if you guys would prefer me to put it in. I usually cut it out, but some people have been saying they prefer if I keep it in order to sync the videos better if they want to watch along. I normally cut it because there's not really much for me to talk about during this period, but I could leave it in. It doesn't matter too much. So let me know. In this case, however, I will be cutting it, so see you guys in a second. And back. Akali. All right. They came from a countryside or something. A qualifier, alright. Was that a play on words for Tori? Tori also means bird. Right, so another. Oh, actually, I'm assuming that this is for a different kind of match. Golden. What are with all these characters? Really? I believe Dan is in a sense the highest rank you ever achieve. It doesn't represent your current strength. So you don't get demoted, I believe, in terms of Dan. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to catch Shogi for me. It's hard. I mean, once you memorize it, it's easy. Memorize all the patterns of how they move. Yeah, with all Shogi, it has all this kanji there. It's just so hard to immediately at a glance look at all the positions. You're seriously asking your kohai to treat you? Saki. Ooh. Mm. So this is what the elder sister is doing. Yeah. I mean, that's more of a form of ritual hazing, I guess. That's how they met. 6 and 3. Alright, that's how they knew of each other. I mean, first met each other. Lucky dude. I'll be honest, I didn't recognize her immediately either. Well, at least he's all cheered up, right? No, but real talk though, it's supposed to be the senpai that treats the kohai. How long have you been here, dude? I understand. Eating alone is one thing, but I would prefer to do it at home as well. Then again, in Japan, it's much more common to see people eating by themselves. Even in public, you know, in restaurants and whatnot. Okay. So he is accepting of, you know, their their invitations and whatnot. Their care for him. Open festival. Instant noodles. Guilt him into this? You are such a lucky dude, Ray. I mean, I'm sure he has maybe a sad past as well, or whatnot. But at this instance, he's definitely lucky. Just like family, right? You always show your truest self with family. Hmm? They're still alive. Hmm. So neither his father or mother are alive, so they're both his foster parents. Hmm. All right. Mm-hmm. A good distraction. I mean, from on her perspective, she also lost her parents, right? Hmm. Nice. Okay, quite a wholesome episode, actually, all things considered. So there is some more preview at the very end. Let me skip this real quick. I'll see you guys in a second. Alrighty, so I did watch the preview, but there's not really much to talk about, so I decided to leave that out of the video, right? So let's talk a little bit about the story so far. Last episode, I made the theory that Ray was probably adopted. You know, he's had foster parents, although I was thinking more in a step-parent kind of situation. However, with the new information that we gained from this episode, apparently his parents were in a car accident or something like that. Not only parents, but also a sibling as well. And so I guess he's just formally adopted by this new family, right? So they are foster parents in a certain sense, and it's not a case of remarriage and having stepfathers or step siblings, right? One thing, however, that's still kind of that I still can't quite make out is we can clearly see from last episode that when Ray first got to be with this new family, the step family or foster family, if you will, he was still, he still was a pretty energetic kid, bouncing around and whatnot. I would dare say that the accident had not happened then. So then, what exactly was the context of the situation? Is it something like maybe his parents and siblings went on a journey, and then so he was just left in care of this other, this new father and these other kids as well. Maybe they're relatives of his or something like that. But definitely, it seems that the timelines here are something that is still unclear to me, right? But it's definitely not just a case of, okay, his parents dying and then him going into this new foster family and just like that, right? Especially considering the thing that he said, the thing that he mentions himself, where after the accident happened, he pretty much became this shut-in person in terms of his emotions, right? So yeah, that's what I'm getting from this so far. But with that, on that note, right? Like I said within the episode, even though I'm sure that he has a sad past as well, he is actually really fortunate as of he is right now, right? Because he actually does have people that care for him. First of all, we have these three sisters and their grandfather as well. He's got Piers, the guy that appeared at the beginning of the episode, even though he might appear obnoxious and whatnot. I feel like that kind of relationship where you can banter with them and whatnot, it is a luxury in a certain type of sense as well, right? You can actually have a peer that's able to be this close with you in a sense, and of course he's got these caring senpais as well, as we see within this episode, right? So I was assuming that this is going to be a story where he was shut in, and then through meeting lots of different people, he gradually opens up. And sort of like this "you are not alone" kind of situation, right? Hitori janai, which is used in a lot of anime, right? It's quite the common trope. Now, however, what's different here is I feel like Ray actually recognizes this on a certain level, right? He recognizes that he shouldn't be doing, he shouldn't be completely withdrawn, and these are people that are caring for him, and he recognizes that, he acknowledges that. So, and he understands that he's in a bad situation right now. So, what's stopping him from stepping out and making a reconnection with the world again, right? Is it an inherent distrust of people that was maybe installed in him by his foster family? Maybe he felt betrayed or unloved by them or something like that, or some other kind of complex problem, right? So I guess the way that this series is going is that it's going to talk a little bit more about how, he eventually makes peace with himself in a certain way and accepts this care of others as it is, right? And for really open up his own heart to them as well. And it's definitely interesting as well for the case of the three sisters, and particularly the eldest sister Akira, right? So, sorry, not Akira, Akari. It's apparent that they have the same sort of wounds, right? So these three sisters, they've also lost their parents as well, so it's in a similar situation as that of Ray. So, they can help lick each other's wounds, if you will, and that would make total sense, perfect sense as well. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything for this. I wasn't expecting her to have such an occupation as well. So apparently she's working as a hostess in a cabaret club, or a cabaret bar, cabaret club, whatever you want to call it. And it's actually quite a high-end one as well, right? Because it's actually in Ginza, which is where the most high class of these cabaret clubs generally are in. And then we can also see from the from the scene as well, it's more of a private and secluded place. So these places, from my understanding anyways, are that of the the highest priced and pretty much the highest tier of this kind of establishment, right? So hostess clubs are basically places where you go and you have drinks and eat some stuff, and then you would have these hostesses, typically cute girls, young girls. Well, not necessarily young, but especially in these cases, maybe more refined girls. Just chatting with you, right? And it's generally not something that has anything to do with sexual activities or whatnot. They make a clear distinction between this and, say, for instance, that of the red light district of Shinjuku, right? So it's quite different in that kind of circumstance. So. No, I don't think that has really much to do with the story, by the way. It's just some interesting reference that they made. So I thought I'd I bring up. I've never been to a club in Ginza as well, right? It's typically, from my impression, it's more reserved for those of Japanese businessmen, right? If you do want to, as a tourist or anything, go to these kind of things, you would probably go more towards Shinjuku or Roppongi, and those sort of places. Um, yeah, what else? So they played Shogi, of course, and I'll be honest, it's hard for me to actually catch what they're trying to do, even though I do play chess and have some knowledge, basic knowledge of these different types of chess. The thing about Shogi is that it's very unique in that you can actually put your opponent's pieces back into play, and that just adds a completely different dynamic to the entire situation. So it's, and not to mention that really all of them using kanji to, even for me who can read kanji, it's definitely not something that you can just glance at and then immediately say, okay, I can know of this whole situation, right? Especially since the kanji that they use is, I don't know how to describe, like sort of written in a cursive way, if we're using English characters as a representation, so it's doubly hard for me to look directly at it. As far as I could tell within the shogi match here, it's basically a case of sacrificing a piece to eventually get into an advantageous position to force the other side into a checkmate, right? I'm not going to pretend that I know much about shogi strategy and tactics and whatnot, so it's a little bit different from my series on Your Lie in April, where I can at least go a little bit further and deeper into the musical stuff, but in this case, meh. I'm just along for the ride, right? So yeah, that was episode 2. It's actually catching my attention now. Episode 1, I was kind of meh about, but with this episode and with, having some actual shogi games as well, and then learning a little bit more about all these kinds of characters and the character dynamics, it is grabbing a lot more of my attention. So, good on them. I'm not bored, let's just say, and I feel like that's very important, since you guys say that this might be a slow start into something that's really, really good, and I would hate for me to be bored for the beginning episodes and whatnot. So yeah, and there we go. That concludes episode 2 of March Comes In Like a Lion. This is Maverick signing off. Bye bye.